Welcome to our online session, Voices of the Future, Youth Perspectives on Climate Change session. I am Ms. Patrice, and I am your moderator for today, and it is absolutely my pleasure to welcome you to this vital discussion. As an advocate for inclusive education, for environmental sustainability, I am thrilled to be here today to moderate a conversation that is from the heart and for our future. Our session today is more than just an exchange of ideas. It's a platform for understanding, a catalyst for change, and a beacon of hope as we listen to the voices that will help shape our future and our world. This morning, we have three experts with us. We have Samuel Nate Aubrey. He is a young Ghanaian environmentalist and development worker. He blends passion with expertise in sustainability and conservation. With a bachelor's in environment and resource management from the University of Development Studies in 2021, he's honed skills in community relations, environmental analysis, climate change, and sustainable development. As a community relations officer here at Eclectic Leavenworth, he spearheads projects enriching community life, empowering and advocating for minors, and fostering social cohesion through engaging events. His tenure as a national service personnel at the Environmental Protection Agency fortified his experience in environmental impact assessments, compliance enforcement, and public outreach. Beyond professional pursuits, Samuel is a dedicated Christian, a researcher, and an explorer. He has explored issues on household water access and conducted community needs assessments. Equipped with diverse certifications from diverse fields like syntropic agroforestry, climate change, SDGs, gender and human rights, among others. He is an active youth coach and a committed advocate for sustainable change in educational and environmental realms. We also have with us Amari Nwuneli. She is a 16-year-old Nigerian-American activist. I am really happy about this because she is young and vibrant in this space. She is a social innovator, she is an actor and an author. She founded and she runs Preserve Our Roots, a by youth, for youth organization and social movement that works to raise awareness of climate change through interactive workshops, videos, and local initiatives. Through her work as a climate activist, she has served as a speaker and youth representative in COP27. She has spoken at different climate panels who was chosen as an Ashoka Youth Changemaker. She has won the CoLabs Teens Dream Grant Award and has written and spoken on national and international news platforms. In addition, she constantly works to address inequality, corruption, and discrimination by leading beach clubs, beach cleanups, raising funding for communities affected by climate change, running shoe and book drives for government schools, and exposing herself to volunteer work. In 2022, she published her first poetry book, For We Are Curious. She is the producer of the climate documentary, The Heat of Change, and is working with the Nigerian government to build 3 sustainable public parks all across Nigeria using recycled materials. Then we lastly but not leastly, our expert as Abigail Anyomi. Abigail Akosia Afre Nyomi, she holds a bachelor's degree in political studies from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Kumasi, Ghana, and is presently a law student at the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, Green Hill campus. She is also a writer, and her debut poetry chapbook, Shell, A Tale of Resilience, is set for publication toward the end of January 2024. As a climate advocate, Abigail works with different organizations. She is the assistant director at Earth Safety Climate Organization. She also serves as the head of communications at Eco Africa Network in Ghana. She is a registered member of the Yongo, the official youth constituency of the UNFCCC. She has previously participated as a delegate and volunteer at the local conference of youth, Ghana, ELCOI. Recognizing that climate change is a global crisis, Abigail is passionate about youth advocacy and collective efforts for a sustainable future. So welcome, Abby, as well. So this morning, because we are a little bit behind time, we will start and have Samuel share his story with us.
Um, well, I just wanted to say hello to everyone watching online. It's great and a pleasure to be here. I'm joining in from Nigeria right now in school. You can see my school uniform, but I am very honored to have a chance to be speaking to you all today. Um, I just want to give just a highlight of what I'll be speaking about, sharing my story, but just with guidance on what I'm going to be talking about and why I'm sharing it. So some of the things that I'll be talking about is my story, how I got here, the support systems that assisted in that, and my hopes and dreams for the future. Is there anything else you would like me to add to that, Ms. Patches, or is that a good overview? Okay. So like my bio read, my name is Amara Winelli. I'm 16 years old and a social and climate activist and the founder of Preserve Our Roots. I have always been someone who's been interested in nature, in traveling, and in advocacy. Growing up in a country where the social disparities is very evident, where you are able to see who has and who has not anything, who the haves and have-nots, and the people who are blessed with opportunities and support, and the people who aren't. And in the summer of 2020, my house was flooded due to flash floods that really took our country by storm, leaving over 3 million people displaced, over billions and billions of dollars in money reparations. And I felt hopeless and helpless, and I do not like feeling not able to do something about it. Climate change is such an existential problem that sometimes people don't even want to approach or identify, even if we say it is real. It's just something that we see as impending doom that we cannot have any control over. But I wanted to ensure that there was something that could be done. So after that experience, after becoming a temporary climate refugee, I saw that my family had the privilege of being able to at least pool resources, have support that helped us out, helped us rebuild. But there were people, my family, my friends, who could not access the same resources. That's why Hijab Roots actually got a whole wide range in the diaspora of climate change and climate advocacy. It is valued because we show that people have the problem, and we do things like informational camps and educational camps that mobilize and motivate young people climate advocates. And that has been really cool. Over the past year, we have grown in numbers. We started in 2020, of course, but in numbers are following. We have rebuilt two. We have powered the rebuilding of two schools in a number that were torn down through the floods, through fundraising, and we have also raised funded financially as well this Christmas activities as well. So this journey has been really great, but it has not been without the support of the people around me, my friends, my family, the people on the team. It's not a one-person job, and they're saying like, I'm in school right now talking to people. Hopefully, even if you're here supporting Mrs. Patcher, supporting me, supporting anyone, you can take something away from this, knowing that you're never too young, never too unaware, never too even overwhelmed to do something about it, whether it's climate change or something else. It can be about social disparities, income inequality, gender disparities, anything. But I think that's really my journey, my story. But there's more to come, and there's more that encompasses. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much, Amara.
Hi everyone, my name is Abigail Anyomi. I'm a youth climate advocate. As Patrice rightly introduced earlier, I work with a number of organizations, including Net Safety Valve, Eco Africa Network. I've done some work with Gaio, and I volunteered with I think two of the local conference of youth here in Ghana. So yeah, I think we're all here to pretty much learn, and as you can tell from my slide, basically here to talk about the role of the youth in climate advocacy. So going right into numbers. right? This is just a chart demonstrating that the world's population. This study was actually conducted somewhere in 2000 with projections that by 2025 we are going to have even a greater percentage of of youth population, right? And some studies have actually shown that youth population as of today is nearly 50%, right, of the world's population, with chances that that number is rapidly increasing, especially. So if you are wondering why the youth should be involved in climate advocacy, there you have it. We make up the bulk of the population, the world's population. And so why should we not get involved? Why should we not let our voices be heard? So taking us right to our next slide. Maybe some of you have doubts. Some of you may be wondering whether climate change is really happening, whether it's really a thing. And there have been a number of situations that indeed tell us that climate change is happening. So of course there are rising sea levels. What causes rising sea levels is melting glaciers and ice. So this is basically caused by global warming. So if there's global warming, then it's causing the ice to melt, causing rising sea levels. And this is, you can see the implications of this for mostly coastal cities and communities. For mostly coastal cities and communities. And in fact, as at 2022, sea levels had risen by about 4 inches, 4 inches above 1993 levels. And this is worrying. And you see situations of flooding. You've heard of instances in New York and Miami, because those are some cities close to the coastal levels. Even here in Ghana, because I'm in Ghana, we've had instances of flooding around the coastal areas. When you look at Kita in the Volta region, there have been instances of flooding due to the rising sea levels. The second thing to be looking at is extreme weather conditions. So reports have shown that 2023 was one of the hottest year ever, like the hottest year ever. And this is basically due to heat waves, so extreme weather conditions. So even though weather conditions by themselves are quite short-lived, once they accumulate over a period, they eventually result in climate change, right? And so this is another thing to be looking at. There's evidence that indeed climate change is happening. There's prolonged drought situations, and then there's resource scarcity. And dwelling on resource scarcity, looking at natural resources, oil, food, water, precious metals, right? And realize that, especially with the natural resources like oil reserves and all of that, these are not things that, it's not like you could just go plant a tree, right? When the oil is done, it's done, and then you have to go look elsewhere. And so we need to manage the available resources, because as we can tell, once oil prices are hiked, there's a hike on every other price. It's like a ripple effect. So oil prices go up, there's a hike on food prices and transportation and all of that. Great. So I'm going to move to my next slide. On this slide, I decided to put together a small piece. As Patrice rightly mentioned, I'm a writer, I'm a poet. I have an upcoming book, Shell, A Tale of Resilience. You can look me up on social media, Abigail Anyomi on LinkedIn, and it will direct you to a couple of my works. So over here you have a small poem that basically conscious us as a youth that you know what climate change is happening, and we need to basically speak up, we need to act. And so I'll just read this piece quite really quickly. So the earth is drowning, don't you see her sinking? Mama Nature is on fire, can't you feel the heat? Look at her burn, youth arise. Mama Nature is calling, youth arise. Mama Nature is calling. Youth, arise. We are the future generation. You may want to think that there is some other future generation that is going to, be affected by climate change, but we are the future generation. If we do not act about what's going on, we don't let our voices be heard, we don't get involved in climate advocacy, all that is happening ends up affecting us. The future is now, really. I don't. If we are not good now, we will not be good tomorrow. And so we are the future generation. We need to act. We need to take active active steps with regards to the climate fight. And really, what causes climate change? I mean, there are a ton of things. Fossil fuels tops the list. There's cutting down of trees. A ton of human activities causes climate change. All right. And the very next slide talks about what you and I can do as youths in our own little ways to contribute to a sustainable future. So, for instance, if you use single-use plastics, you want to avoid using single-use plastics and then use reusable containers, reusable bags, etc. The next is to choose organic. As much as possible, you want to be using things that are organic rather than, things that are easily perishable. And now we look at greening your home. Greening your home, basically, you're looking at energy efficiency, you're looking at planting a tree, you're looking at, committing to things that ensures that you are contributing to a sustainable future in your own small way. And the next thing is to avoid food and water waste. As we've already said, there is resource scarcity, right? And some of these can be attributed to our own activities. So if we are not in our own small ways trying to avoid food waste and water waste and trying to manage the water reserves that we do have, then of course it will continue to fuel climate change. But if we take active steps to avoid waste, then we can have a more sustainable future. So the last point I have on this slide is to use your voice. What does it mean to use your voice? Basically, what I'm doing here now is using my voice to advocate for climate change by educating, by attending workshops, by contributing to consultations, by contributing to research papers, etc. Right? All these are instances that you could use your voice to get involved in the climate advocacy towards a more sustainable future. And I'm sure you can think of a ton of things. There's recycling, a whole ton of things that you can be doing to ensure a more sustainable future, right? As I draw closer to the end of my presentation, this slide basically highlights some success stories which I've gathered from across Africa. Basically, there's the Macintosh Africa project. Macintosh is actually, so they're not just into recycling, upcycling, right? Macintosh is into a ton of things, mostly environmental focus and, focus on creating a more sustainable future. And then we have Cheja solar backpacks. They are was an initiative that was born in Botswana. So they are basically backpacks that have, solar infused technology in them. So it charges up during the day, and then young people can use these backpacks during the nights for various activities, right? And then there's the Dwapa reforestation and afforestation projects, basically assisting farmers in planting and ensuring that even though trees are being cut, there's efforts being made, active efforts being made, and replanting of these trees in various rural areas across Africa, not just in Ghana. They've been to different African countries as well. So moving on to my concluding slide. So far, we've learned that indeed climate change is happening. There has been a call that youth should get involved. If we do not get involved, then of course Others will decide for us our own future, when in fact we are the future generation. And this slide basically is saying that human activities that help reduce carbon emissions will ensure a more sustainable environment. As we have seen in previous slides, we've seen that, of course, you need to green your home, you need to avoid single-use plastics, you need to avoid food and water wastes, etc. So why must we come together as youth to get involved in this conversation? Basically, the collective action of youths in combating climate change will greatly contribute to SDG 13. And not just SDG 13, there's also SDG 7 on clean energy, SDG 6. There are other sustainable development goals that getting involved in climate advocacy does in fact contribute to. And the reality is there is no planet B. These Earth is all we have, and so if we do not act now, then we might find ourselves once and we'll continue to experience even harsher conditions of climate change in the years to come. And so, of course, there's a call to everyone in this meeting, everyone on this discussion panel to get involved in climate advocacy in your own small way. You could start by making little posts on your social media. You can start by getting involved in beach cleanups. You could in your own small way, right, get involved in the climate advocacy, even in your home. This brings me to the end of my very, very, very short presentation. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Abigail. Your presentation was very beautiful. Thank you so much. As Abigail said, just as a reminder, there is no planet B. So again, what are you going to be doing? How are you going to personally own changing our environment or changing the way that we think, act, and behave in our environment? Up next, we have Mr. Samuel Nate Abre, and I believe he is ready. So Sam, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate the efforts of the organizers of this program and also all our guests and my colleague speakers as well. Without wasting much time here, as they've also tackled issues relating to climate change, yes, and our collective efforts to make sure we sustain our planet for the next generation. I'll also use this opportunity to also discuss one or two issues that are bothering us as young people, as youth, in order for us to ensure a sustainable future for ourselves and our children and those beyond, or for posterity. So I will be leading a session on climate and education track. Yes, climate and education track. So this presentation is on the role of education in championing a healthy planet. Yes, so you tackle something about the role of education, yes, in championing a healthy planet. As my dear sister indicated, that we don't have any planet B here. The only planet that can sustain life in the universe is our planet Earth. So it is our duty to sustain it. So the role of education in championing a healthy planet. So we introduce here to the house driving a global change. So climate, incorporating education and climate as well. So the key objectives here is that we will be embarking on a crucial journey of exploring the intersection of climate action and education. And here we also delve into the present realities of climate crisis, understanding the power of education in driving the change we deserve, and also discover how collective efforts can shape a sustainable future. Yes. So we first take a quick look at our current climate crisis. So for us to understand the crisis we are facing as a result of climate change, first we see global temperatures. We see that our global temperatures are rising at a faster rate. Yes. So this is disturbing ecosystems and our weather patterns, as we all know from previous experiences and even at the current moment, especially here in Ghana. Yes. So we could see that our sea levels are rising, our ecosystems are being threatened, especially within our coastal communities and low-lying islands, low-lying areas, places that are by the lakeside. We also just recently where we had communities being flooded at the lower Volta banks and even the coastal areas around Keta and other places in Ghana. Yes. So we have extreme weather events like droughts, floods, wildfires, and a whole lot. They are becoming more frequent and more intense. The intensity is rising. And then all these changes, all these activities or occurrences, they disturb economies. They have negative impact on our economies, food security, and then public health, as well as our migration pattern, the human migration patterns and animal migration pattern, especially migratory birds. Yes, and then we have a great significance or challenges on humanities as a result of all this. So we take a quick look at how education will empower this change we are seeking. Yes. So we posit here that education will empower our individual selves to get the basic knowledge or the basic scientific idea about climate change, the impact and the potential solutions. Yes. So education will also foster. Okay. So education also nurtures or it fosters critical thinking skills of individuals. So when we get education, especially about climate change, when we get this education about climate change, we are able to nurture our critical thinking skills. We're able to, because there are a lot of arguments that are ongoing about climate change. Yes, there are various issues that are being tackled across the globe. Yes, so if we get the education on climate change, for instance, we are able to analyze this information that come out. We're able to evaluate and assess arguments and also make informed decisions. So as an individual, you assess arguments, you make informed decisions on what to do for the future. And also it helps to cultivate and shape our mindset, our individual mindset towards sustainable consumption and production, especially with SDG 12. Also, our environmental stewardship rules, we are able to sharpen these skills and our community engagement. And then also by equipping our young people with knowledge and skills, we can say that we are able to imbibe into them the values and then the empowerment that they need to become effective agents of change. Yes. And then also, next slide. All right. And then also, we look at the expertise and insights from because we are working with children and youth. We want to nurture and raise them up to build their capacity, our capacity as youth and children for sustainable development. So, what are some of the expertise and insights that we have drawn from child and youth development? So, myself personally and my team here, we have worked with the children, we have worked with the youth for some time now, and our experiences have shown that our young ones are, in fact, they have the potentials to drive positive change in the world. Yes, we could see that they are enthusiastic to be on board, to get themselves on board, to make sure they join the climate action we have started all over the world. So when we give them these opportunities, when we create an opportunity for them to learn, to engage and to act, these people can become powerful advocates for environmental sustainability in the near future. So let us give them the platform for them to also exhibit whatever they have in them, because they also have the ideas, they also have the skills, they have the passion and the zeal. So we also have to engage communities through workshops and projects, yes, in order for them to also get that experience to contribute their best, our community leaders, our community members as a whole. Yes. Here we say inspiring change. Yes. When we come to the issue of inspiring change, how education can inspire change and how our as experts, as individuals, we can inspire change and also transform the next generation. We can say that we, as ourselves, as leaders, as educators, and even concerned citizens, even if you are not an educator, you are not a leader, but you are a concerned citizen. You have a crucial role in inspiring the next generation, yes, to transform the next world. We say we have to share success stories of successful environmental initiatives that we have carried out in the past, things that we've come across, we've chanced across in libraries, on the internet, everywhere, issues that have been successful, yes, by different organizations and individuals. We also have to share success stories of heroes and heroines who have contributed their best to fight climate change and who have also made a difference and impact. We have to share stories to these young ones for them to also get the impression that they can also do it. So let us create platforms for young people to also voice their concerns, their ideas, and their solutions. Yes. So the young ones, myself, I'm included. We need broader platforms to also share our ideas and a lot. So we also need to support them. They need support. They need encouragement, and we have to also nurture and foster their passion. Yes. So we don't need to keep them at one angle, but we have to do what? To do our best and also nurture whatever they have in them. So I leave you here with my final quote, a quote that I created myself, or something that I observed, that it would be good for us to also streamline along the line to impact the next generation. It says, inspiring the next generation isn't simply about lecturing them. We are not just lecturing the next generation, but we must also strive and also try our best to cultivate their sense. We have to nurture them, ignite their passion, and also cultivate the sense of the young ones. Yes. So if we're able to discover them at the early stage, catch them young stage, and we are able to ignite their passion and also to cultivate their sense of they can do better, our next generation, you will always see light at the end of every tunnel we are passing through. So I believe that as we have inspired ourselves here, we will go forth and put everything into practice and to ensure a sustainable future. Thank you for your time and for your patience.
Thank you very much, Sam. Wow, that was powerful. Inspiring the next generation isn't simply about lecturing, but that we need to ignite our children's passion and cultivate their sense. Very, very powerful. And we thank you for that. So we open the floor up to all of our attendees that are present here. Please, if you have any questions for any of our experts, we would like for you to ask. Now is the time to ask. And then also, just across ourselves, how did your journey as a young environmentalist and then a young environmental activist begin, and what challenges have you faced in advocating for climate action? So Sam, for you, how did your journey as a young environmental activist begin? And what challenges have you faced in advocating for climate action?
Okay, my journey as a young environmentalist started long ago. I can say that right from the basic school days, especially when we were inspired to carry out groundswork in school, keeping our compounds tidy, making sure we adopt sustainable practices, using snail shells to decorate the compounds of our schools. Every class we were inspired to create gardens, flower gardens. So those days, almost like 20 years ago, when I was in the lower primary, it ignited my passion to for myself within the environment. And that has been my passion throughout my basic school, secondary school days, and even at the tertiary. So it has been almost like a lifetime progress that I've been in the environmental field. And there are a lot of things that have come to us. They have impacted me, they have steered up my zeal, especially in the care keep me into reality. As I see that whenever I go back to place my communities, I could see that farmers are always complaining of poor rainfall pattern, changing patterns of rainfall, a fall down in agricultural produce, and in fact, threat to food security. So that has been the challenge that I've been seeing among my 30 folks, and it has also, let me say, streamlined my thoughts and my innovative ideas as to how to adopt something like organic agriculture or even urban farming practices to also supplement the crisis we are facing across the world. So that is one of my something that interests me most in the coming days.
Okay, thank you. And Abigail, how about for yourself?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Okay, so how did your journey as a young environmentalist begin? And then what challenges have you faced in advocating for climate action?
Okay, all right, thank you. Well, my journey as a climate advocate began sometime in 2022, so it's pretty recent. I had started the law program at the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, and I was reading a course in environmental law. I'd say prior to that, I had done a bit of reading around, climate change, because it was becoming an issue that was really talked about. So I wanted to be in the know. But what really set me up for this journey was when I went through the environmental law class and I got to understand like the basics, more or less the legalities and history behind it all. And then I went on to attend conferences and got involved with environmental focused organizations. And so that's how it began for me, the latter part of 2022. And I've been volunteering with organizations since then. I'd say the difficult bit about this journey sometimes is you may have some very bright ideas and then you may not have the platform to, put your idea across because you're still new and trying to figure it all out. And when you do find a platform, it's so choked and getting funding for the projects or the ideas that you have in mind is another trouble. So that has been the challenge for me.
Thank you very much. Now to our audience. Can your experience as an environmental activist, what challenges have you faced? While they're thinking, Abigail, how do you envision technology playing a role in promoting sustainable practices among the younger generations?
Okay. If I got your question correctly, you're asking about the role of technology in fostering sustainable practices. Was that it?
Yes.
Great. I think technology and innovations play a vital role in ensuring sustainable practices. And this is evident, especially when you look at the conversation on clean energy, right? So there's a conversation ongoing about phasing out of fossil fuels and moving to renewable energy or more cleaner energy sources. And all of this is technology really, because if you want to say you want to go by solar energy, there's the solar panels, then there are also the sorry, the name escapes me, but hydro. So there are energy sources that you'd want to tap from that would require some particular technology in order for us to use those energy sources. And so you can see that technology actually plays a very vital role in the move towards sustainability. You could even tell by the introduction of artificial intelligence and machine learning in industries. You realize companies use AI for, predictive maintenance in in industrial settings, and this helps reduce waste and energy consumption. So in the long run, it's ensuring energy efficiency. And also there's biotechnology, innovations like biofuels and bioplastics, which help decrease reliance on non-renewable pollution intensive resources really. And then we can also see an influx of electronic vehicles. And so all of these things point to the fact that technology and innovations play a vital role in ensuring a more sustainable future for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail. Yes, technology, as the years grow and technology, is expanded upon, there's a lot of things that are changing. And for the most part, everything relates and affects our climate, our environment. So, Sam, what do you have to add or take away from the role that technology is playing in creating sustainable practices, especially for our younger generation?
Thank you very much. Technology plays a very pivotal role in fostering sustainable practices. Yes. So, especially among the younger generation, it provides us innovative ideas and solutions to some of the challenging issues caused by climate change and also our own human activities as well. And also it creates more awareness. It helps us a lot. So, for instance, we can talk about educational apps and modeling apps. There's this dynamic modeling of environmental issues where we have systems engineering and systems analysis and a whole lot. So we can employ these applications and softwares, also educate and engage the youth on environmental issues. So some of these softwares can even model issues that are maybe global issues. We can model them down to the local level to also make the education and sensitization clear for our people we serve. And also, as indicated, that artificial intelligence has even come down to help a lot. Yes. So while we also talk about the digital tools, we can also use these digital tools to enable monitoring and control and tracking of our personal carbon footprints. We have monitoring tools that can also help us, monitoring softwares that can also help us to also monitor our individual carbon footprints, how we can even reduce it. Yes, these are developing trends that are coming on board. And when we employ these things in our day-to-day activities, it can also help us to do away with some of the excessive consumption patterns which serve as a disturbance to our ecosystem. And also, moving further, we can talk about the sustainable technology, adoption of sustainable technology, such as these renewable energy systems and also energy efficient innovations that are energy efficient, renewable energy sources like the solar, the wind, and some of these biological energy sources. Yes, we can also adopt and employ them in our dealings or day-to-day activities. And if we introduce some of these innovations as well, it can also inspire and empower the young individuals to also adopt eco-friendly behaviors. Is seeing to it that our leaders or we at the top hierarchy or people they are looking up to, we are living a green and an eco-friendly life. It will also inspire them to also follow suit for a successful future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. So we have common misconceptions that are related to climate change. One of them being that climate change only affects the environment. So with that misconception, how do you address it, Sam?
All right. Some of these misconceptions some people even think that climate change is not real. Climate change is into the future. It's a distant phenomenon into the future. It's just a natural, unrelated phenomenon which is not even related to human-induced activities or whatever. Yes. So one thing that we can do to debunk all these things is to embark on excessive education. Yes, to carry out broader education and even clear-cut communication systems. Yes. So if we do public campaigns, practicalize our findings about climate change, issues that are affecting them personally in their own life livelihoods. Yes. It can even bring their awareness to the fact that what they are doing, things they are doing are causing climate change. If we reduce that, it will bring a change in our lifestyle, in our experiences, and let me say day-to-day pattern of living. Yes, this will also help. So, to put it short, we can say that education, campaigns, and sensitization can help debunk this, and also emphasizing on the agency of climate action, the scientific consensus surrounding the human impact, yes, of the climate change on the environment. So when we can engage directly with our communities and present more evidence that, oh, these are some of the things you've been doing and they are causing changes in the weather patterns, changes in the average climate and whatever. It can also help dispel these misconceptions that are taking place.
Thank you very much, Sam. Abigail, we have a question. The question is from Benjamin Valentine. Okay. The question says, please, do you think there is a contradiction between the widely promoted idea that recycling is a key solution to combat climate issues and the reality that many recycling facilities emit gases? And the question continues saying, how significant is the environmental impact of these emissions? And are there more sustainable alternatives to traditional recycling methods? This is a nice one. If any of our attendees can help us answer this as well, please, we will be very, very grateful for your answers as well.
Yes, hello.
Yes, Abigail.
Okay, I think I went off for a moment there. I see the question. I see the question, so I'm going to read it out first and then I respond.
Okay.
He wants to know, do you think there's a contradiction between the widely promoted idea that recycling is a key solution to combat climate issues and the reality that many recycling facilities emit gases? Okay, very, very interesting question. Very, very interesting question. I will not offer a direct answer to that question. In fact, it is actually very true that, the recycling process in and of itself would require some emission of gases, but I think we should focus more on the positive aspects of it and the fact that the positive would outweigh the negative. Because look at all that. So you're looking at plastics and every other thing that is just being dumped, right? And these companies go for these, let me say, waste, and then they segregate these waste, and then they, engage in recycling or upcycling of these products. And in the long run, they are doing so much more good than harm, if you put it that way. Of course, we should be looking at moving to ways that would help reduce emissions even further, and of course, achieving the very, very ambitious aim of net zero. But for now, it is what it is, even though recycling facilities or companies are themselves emitters. I'd say that is much smaller as compared to the work that they are putting in to ensure a more sustainable future for us all. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope that answered your question, Benjamin. Sam, would you like to add anything to that as well?
As we also discussed, now we, especially in the past, we think that, when we recycle products, we try to do away with emission, we try to limit or to zero down the emission rates, emission patterns, and whatever. But as statistics have also shown, and with my little experience, and so we could see that recycling companies and even recyclers are themselves polluters in one way or the other. Yes. So especially in as much as we are trying to do that to make sure we reduce emission across every angle, it is prudent on our part that we, in approaching the future, we can try and employ other means to be innovative enough such that we should also look into the problems that these recycling activities or recycling companies are even causing or adding up, and to also make sure that we identify some of these weak spots and also work on them. And aside that, coming down to an individual level, knowing that when we have in mind that, oh, when we pollute this, recyclers will come and also repair that damage. And at the end of the day, we leave the bulky part of the tax to the recyclers, or if they themselves are not able to alleviate everything. So what we also must do is to make sure that we ourselves, we try and, on individual basis to reduce our footprint to a certain scale or a certain standard in order to make sure that we balance ourselves in our fight towards zero emission. And then you will see the results we are yearning for ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. So another question that has come to mind is, can you discuss, Abigail, a particular project or initiative you've worked on that you believe has made a significant impact on climate change awareness or action?
Kindly repeat your question again.
Okay. Can you discuss a particular project or initiative you've worked on that you believe has made a significant impact on climate change awareness or action?
Okay, sure. I would talk about my work at Safety Valve. Sometime COP27 was last 2 years, right? Because we are in 2024. So yes, towards COP27, right? What the organization had done was to put together a climate comic book, right? Because the focus was on children, and we're always talking about climate change, and then there is all these fancy terms and technicalities to it, and very young people, and I'm talking about children, right, do not really understand what climate change is about. And so the organization put together a climate comic book titled I Can't Breathe. And this comic book was presented at COP27, and it's actually available on Amazon for parents to get for their children so that they could learn about climate change in very, very easy language with, picture illustrations and all of that. So I'd say that's upset for me presently. That's one thing I'm quite proud of that we were able to do to create climate change awareness, particularly for children.
Okay, then. Wow. So, did you get to give any of your input in the comic book?
Yes, actually, I was actively involved in the process. At the time, I was HOD for their media and communications, so actively involved in the illustration process and even the storyline that we were putting together for the comic. And I actually did come up with the title. At the end of the day, we had a number of titles in mind, and then this was chosen, which was actually my suggestion to the team. So yeah, I was actually involved in the process.
Wow. That's amazing. Wow. I'll get my storybook ready. My comic book on climate change. We'll come and do one.
Also, we can't wait.
Yes. So we have about 25 minutes left in this session. And please, for our attendees, we welcome you, those that are just joining us. Thank you very much for joining us. We have Abigail Nyomi here with us and Samuel Nate Arbery with us. we would like to know, how can we as a global community better support young leaders in the climate movement? How can we as a global community better support young leaders in the climate movement?
Does this go to me first or?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So I think one thing that you can do is which is what you're actually already doing, to have a platform, give people the voice, create an avenue for people to learn, to be aware about what is actually going on, to learn from others that have been in the space for quite a bit, that have read beyond what they might know. And so basically giving them a voice, giving them a platform to express themselves, and conducting training sessions for them to be, well abreast. Because yes, I've said that the youth make up, nearly 50% of the world's population. And then, of course, we should get involved in climate advocacy. But you do not get a seat at the table if you do not know anything about what is going on. You need to constantly learn. So maybe aside these things that you're doing, I don't know if you're already putting together research, or, young people these days don't like to read, bulky research reports. So if you could have like infographics, things that bring things to the basic level and community, and then you could create opportunities for youth to speak on forums, platforms, and learn from other experts. That's what I would say about what you can do to, get youth more involved and learn and get involved in the climate advocacy, basically.
Wow. Thank you. So we could create infographics and then create opportunities for our youth to grow. And then we as youth, we also need to remember, as she said, that we will not get a seat at the table if we do not have anything to share, if we don't have the knowledge, the information, the experience, the challenges that help turn different situations into opportunities. So let's be mindful of that. Sam, do you have anything?
I'm sorry. Before Sam comes in real quick.
Yes, Abby.
Real quick. I forgot to chip in that funding is very, very important. So if you have access to grants or any fund of that sort, you could, make that available for the youth so that they could be able to give life to their very brilliant ideas and projects. So funding is key.
Yes. The coins are always important, because without the coins, some people here sometimes say coins stop nonsense or money stops nonsense. And so climate action, the things that are happening within climate action, is nonsense to some communities. So yes, if you have any funding or you have access to grants and you're able to share that information, please, even now, you can share that information with any of us that are here, because it might help somebody that is an environmental activist and that may have a project or something that they want to do, but may not have the actual resources to do it. And Sam?
All right. So, how the question goes. So, in order for us to support young leaders in the climate movement, yes. What do we do? The first thing we have to do or to consider is to prioritize the creation of enough platforms for the youth, let's say for the voices of young leaders in environmental justice and climate change, and let's say sustainability, to be heard. So we have to give them enough platforms. We have to also empower the youth, to create enough rooms for the youth to get themselves empowered, to help build their capacities, and even bring out the dreams that are in them, that have been locked up in them. If they are able to unlock these dreams or these plans in the youth, so they can do their best, for us to also get the best out of them. And also we have to make sure we create enough platforms, global opportunities for the youth, through mentorship, fellowships, workshops, training, not only at the national or even at the local level, but even at the international level, if we give them the global opportunities or to reach or to hit the global front, the youth can also go far. They can do their best and also inspire those that are below them or those that have been subjected to their leadership. And then also, as we said, funding opportunities. Let us make funding opportunities. Let's draw them closer to our youth as well, especially in the developing countries. A country like Malawi, for instance, I have some Malawian friends who are also into this climate change as well. So I asked them, why are most Malawian youth interested in climate change? What they told me is that their country is badly affected by climate change for the past years. And even Hollywood even shot a movie in Malawi about this climate change and the use of renewable energy as well. Yes. So you could see that it's a very important thing we have to consider. So giving the youth opportunity, giving them networking opportunities, and also empowering them, ensuring that whatever they have in them, they're able to bring it forth. Yes. This will also help the young leaders or even young environmentalists to also thrive and survive as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam. So, for Eclectic Love, because Eclectic Love also participates, and you guys mentioned the platform, creating the platform, and we work and we educate the youth and children. And so one thing that we do here at Eclectic Love to help, support our young leaders in this climate movement is we put clubs into various schools. And these clubs are led by one of the students to make them own it so that they are accountable. And that also gives them the platform to voice their ideas and, share different experiences. And then another way that, as I was listening to, is to train our youth. So part of our Clean Air Club is to also train and equip our children, our youth that decide to join in either the school or here at Eclectic Love. And we've seen that it gives them not only, the voice to speak about climate change or to, be an activist for it, but it also gives them confidence and boldness, and it helps build their self-moral and their values that they have. So those are two things that we do here at Eclectic Love. And then aside from that, collaboration. I think that collaboration is equally very, very, very important in creating or supporting our young leaders in the climate movement. There's other organizations that are there that have ideas and things. And as Abigail said, sometimes it's funding that might be an issue. Maybe they have the financial resources, and maybe, another organization or somebody else has the talent to, and when you collaborate and you put it together, now we are not only just thinking of ourselves, but we're SDG 17 partnership. We're now partnering, collaborating, and that in itself makes a bigger impact. So those are just a couple of things that I would like to add to the discussion that we are having. As we're moving on, what is one actionable step that individuals or communities can take today to contribute to a more sustainable future? Just one actionable step. What is one actionable step that individuals or communities can take today? Not tomorrow and you say, oh, no, this one I can't do. I'm tired. No, today, to contribute to a more sustainable future.
All right. One thing I can say that our communities can also do, how best they can do to also create a sustainable future today is that we can look around. I'm talking in the perspective of the community. Yes, we can look around and also identify one major natural resource or natural feature which is within the community, especially the water body which is being polluted gradually. One thing we can do today as a community leader, or if I were to be a chief of a certain village or a certain community, I would pass a bylaw, yes, on how best we can do to limit overusage or overexploitation of the beauty of this feature, especially if we have a small river body, a small stream. I can set up a task force team to monitor, or let's say a watchdog, neighborhood watchdog, in order to monitor some of the practices, especially washing in the river, defecating around, and let me say bad farming practices like the usage of pesticide, or in fact things that deteriorate the quality or the beauty of this river body, because we are not trying to create a safe environment for the future generation or for posterity. So what I'll do is that we will set up this committee, and then we will make sure the bylaws of the community regarding or surrounding the safe use of this water body or the sustainability of water body is well put in place, so that we issue a spot fine at a fee, that if you are caught in this practice, this and this, you do this, you do that, you pay maybe 200 cedis on the spot, 500 cedis. In fact, if we do this thing and then we get at least even 3 people who are put to the law of the community, and then they realize their mistakes, we take the fine from them, and after passing through this punishment, I think it will also serve as a warning or a deterrent to others, and with time we will see the beauty or the restoration of whatever we lost in the natural water body we are seeing in our community. I think if this step is taken by a community in question at this moment, it will create a more sustainable future for our people or even for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Abigail, do you have anything that you would like to add? We have just a few more minutes before we're closing. Okay, so what I think that we can do as starting today, not waiting until tomorrow. Something that I think that we could do today is to reduce. I think we should think about the amount of things that we are consuming and how much waste we are contributing to, our environment. So I think one thing that we can start doing today is reduce our consumption, reduce the amount of waste that we choose to throw away. As Abigail had said, to avoid single-use plastic. That is something that we can use. And then, so something like buying bottles of water. Instead of buying the bottle of water, you can take your carry-along, bottle that you purchase from the store that is multi-usage, and anytime that you want to go buy water, take some faucet water or get a filter and put it inside of your bottle. Therefore, you're not constantly that plastic bottle. Somebody's going to take it and possibly toss it into the river or throw it on the street somewhere. Then another thing that we can do is reuse. Find new ways or new ideas to use something instead of just throwing it away and just, saying, oh, I used this bottle, now I can't use it anymore. You can actually take that bottle and turn it into a flower pot. You can take it and, start gardening in your house, just small little things that you can do. If you have an office, you can take and cut that bottle in half, or even maybe a chips container, and you can turn it into the pens and pencil container that is on your desk for when people come in and out of your office. So things like that. Then the last one that I would like to say is recycle. So we know that the 3 R's are to reduce, reuse, and then finally to recycle. So properly separating our recyclables. So making sure that we place our paper with the paper, our glass with the glass, and the plastics certain plastics where they belong, so that when we are disposing them, they go into the designated recycling bins. But it also helps support our recycling programs, and it helps encourage others to participate. Whenever they see you do it, it also helps encourage somebody else. You don't know who is actually watching, who actually has their eye on you and sees the things, the contributions that you are making, not only into your workplace, but into your community, and to maybe your church or your schools, wherever it is that you may find yourself. So I encourage you, something that you can start doing today is to reduce, reuse, and recycle, and in whichever way that you can possibly do that. We do not have any questions that I see. So with that, please, if you have any questions, please place them in the Q&A section, or you can place it in the live chat, and we will answer your questions. We will help discuss them together as a team, as one family here this morning. So if we do not have any, please, I hope that we have all connected here on the Rise Affinity platform. I hope that someone has taken somebody's contact, somebody has sent somebody a message to connect with one another, because we all have things that we can share with one another. We all have ideas. Somebody's weakness is somebody else's strength, and vice versa. So let's connect and use this opportunity to help make a change and a difference, especially for our environment, especially for our planet. As Abigail said, we know there's no planet B. We're not going to get another planet. This one that we have is the only one that we'll get. So let's make sure that we take perfect care of it, perfect care. As we conclude, I'm reminded that the conversation on climate change and sustainability is an ongoing conversation. It's not something that we're just to do today, and then after we close from here, that, we don't meet one another again, or we don't continue on with this. No, when we leave from here, it will continue. It will not end here. And we must carry the insights and the lessons learned today into our daily lives, and continue to advocate for change in our communities in the smallest way possible that we can do that. Let's do that. Let our voices be heard. The voices that we heard today have underscored the importance of inclusivity, innovation, and collaboration. So let's make sure that we ourselves equally do the same thing. And I, myself personally, I encourage each of you to take these discussions forward. I encourage you to think about them. I encourage you to also act upon them. And let the voices, because we are the voices of the future. We are, they say, the future leaders. No, we are the leaders of today, to be honest. And let's invigorate and let's make a commitment to create a healthier and more sustainable world. Thank you very much.